We cover the latest topics and trends making waves across the sport and chat with our industry's most prominent leaders so your golf business stays one step ahead. Welcome to Golf Business Live, powered by Club Caddie. Here's NGCOA CEO Jay Karen and owner of Augusta Ranch Golf Club and secretary of the PGA of America, Don Rea.
Good afternoon, golf industry. Welcome to Golf Business Live, February 2023 episode, powered by our friends at Club Caddie. Right behind me, my little neon sign. Don Rea, Vice President of the PGA of America. We got to update that intro, boys. Is no longer secretary. So, Don, what you reading there, buddy?
Well, evidently, I'm going to save the PGA professional. I am the 2023 Visionary of the Year. There's a lot of pictures they could have put on there, but I guess that one's all right, right? You know what's the best part of that picture? You didn't even show it, Jay, is right next to me are the two little kids that during PGA Junior League when I was announcing, one of the little guys came over and said, "Hey, can I announce my brother?" And I said, "Sure." Cute kid, love him. And so I got down on one knee and gave him the microphone, and he was great. He said, "And now I want to announce my brother from the same mother." It was awesome. But it was very nice of Golf Inc. and Jack and Michelle to write that article. It was, okay. I've gotten a lot of response from it, and it's good.
2023 Visionary of the Year. Golf Inc. named me the 24th most powerful person in the golf industry. By the way, to be one behind Jack Nicklaus on the leaderboard is a pretty damn good position to be in. That is for sure. So we got to give props to Jack Crittenden and Golf Inc. for recognizing, what caused all of that. This show. If it wasn't for this show, Don Rea, and our platform, perhaps we wouldn't be so visionary and powerful. What do you think about that?
Well, we had to create the show in order to get it there. So I don't, if you have to create your own platform, does it still count? I think it does, but I think it does. If they only knew we were doing it every week through COVID, and here we sit, still doing it years later. So, yeah, super excited, and we're making a difference. There's no doubt. Some of the guests we've had have circled back to me, and we've had some guests that we caught them way early. So I do think that we kind of know what's happening in the industry because we tend to pick up. We had Greg Norman on here before he was Greg Norman.
Yeah, or maybe when he was Greg Norman.
He was when, but he was.
Good point. Good point. I can't believe it'll be 3 years soon. This spring, it'll be 3 years since we started the show, right? So why don't we save all of our heartfelt remembrances for when we have our 3-year anniversary coming up this spring? We got to think about who we want to bring on as a special guest. So let's think hard about that for later this spring. Have a really great anniversary show. Before we get to our distinguished guest who's going to be joining us in a little bit here, 23-year-old, maybe still 24-year-old Tyler Litke is going to join us, a new golf course owner. But let's cover some industry stuff that's going on. Well, first of all, how are things in Mesa, Arizona? Talk to me.
Had a tough month. January was a lot of rain. What's funny, I love going to the State of Industry that Palooza does every year, and I went to it again, and it was refreshing to see that despite the rounds being flat, weather was so bad that we actually had a really good year. If you look in the Southwest, though, of the weather that they had, we were a little bit different. It wasn't as terrible of a year for weather. And then January supposedly was a great month for weather, which Jim predicted based on just being so far below the 10-year average of weather days. But January for us here in our market, we got jacked. I had 7 rain days. A rain day for Augusta Ranch about 10,000. So I was down about 70K just because of weather. February, you never know. It's been pretty good feather. It's been cold though here, so that's affecting us. But and a big but, Jay, is Top Tracer.
I'm gonna ask you.
We haven't even tapped into the non-golfer side of it. And once again, the pricing model for everybody out there, we just increased the price of our buckets about $4. We're up to $18 now for a large bucket, 110 balls. You can rent the bays out at night. We're open at night now for the first time. But In the last 30 days, 270,000 range balls have been hit on the range here at Augusta Ranch. Have you ever told me that 270,000 range balls would be hit? So although I had 7 rain days in January affecting my operation on the round side of my business by 10,000, work back in the top tracer revenue and the increased food and beverage revenue, we actually beat last January. So it works. So top tracer doesn't close when it rains. Top tracer doesn't close at night. Food and beverage, and we're not even running on all cylinders yet. I mean, so once we get into the leagues and the contests and truly get Tiffany going, who's going to be our Bay manager, and really start accessing, the non-golfer traffic, the corporate traffic that we were going to get, it just shows you need diversifiers. And when the weather happens,
I love
it's nice to have top tracer.
Yeah, I've been preaching this since I got really excited about this 6 or 7 years ago, and saying that the cash register usually stops ringing when the sun goes down, or when the rain comes out, or the snow comes out, or it's too hot out. And the antidote to that, because we can't control the climate, is to move things indoors or under a roof. And man, you know what? And also, your story here, Don, reminds me, and I shared this, I think at the Carolinas PGA section meeting last week. It reminds me of my old friend Ray Finch, owner. He was on the NGCOA board of directors 20 years ago. He and his dad built Wild Dunes Golf Resort here in Isle Palms, Charleston area. And I'll never forget, I was a young buck, probably Tyler's age, who we're going to be bringing on here. I think I was 23 when I started NGCOA. And Ray told me something I'll never forget. He said, Jay, when I go to the bank to make my deposit, which back in the day, that's when, business owners made deposits at banks, physical deposits. He said, there's no line on the deposit slip that asks me how many rounds of golf were played at my golf course. I thought the bank doesn't care. It's all about the revenue. I thought, oh man, that for me as a young kid to hear him say it like that was just eye-opening. It was a lesson as a business owner. It all comes down to the cash. It all comes down to the revenue, not necessarily just the rounds played. So, so let's translate this a little bit to those industry stats you talked about, what Pellucid said. Because I pulled some NGF data, Pellucid data, when I was kind of giving my state of the industry update on the road the last couple of weeks. And, so they both report that rounds of golf were down about 3 to 4%. Overall for the industry, if you will. And they have different sets of courses that they measure, but you compare the two, is pretty close. Golf playable hours, as Jim Copenhaver puts out, was down 6.5%. So you look at that, like rounds are down 3.5%, capacity was down 6.5%. So the narrative here is you kind of beat Mother Nature a little bit, which is, you never want to say that out loud. So maybe I shouldn't say that, because Mother Nature is a cruel person sometimes. But to finish the story on that, though, revenue, because Copenhaver is tracking revenue with his golf courses, that revenue was up over a prior year. If revenue is up and rounds are down, what's happening in that math equation? Pricing is up. Operators are making really smart decisions about their pricing, whether they go to dynamic pricing or just the COVID bump in demand has infused confidence again, which I haven't seen in 20 years in our industry, for prices to go up for green fees. And so, the moral of the story for 2022 was it was a good year. And in fact, I think Jim was saying that utilization was up over 70% for the first time since they've been tracking utilization. And that's, I guess, the comparable is hotel occupancy, right? What's the occupancy rates? What is our utilization rate? And it was over 70%. So this is good. We got a lot to talk about in this industry about, the continuation of this and how to make this the new floor of economic prosperity in the industry, instead of thinking, oh, it might go like this. How do we make sure this is the new floor? So really great questions. It's always fun to kind of wrap up and look back and see what happened at the end of last year. I had a great time on the road. I've done a few things since we didn't have a show in January. It was show season with Golf Business Conference and PGA show and so forth. And we had an amazing Golf Business Conference in Orlando. We had a wonderful crowd there. The PGA show was electric. It was just wonderful seeing, how vibrant it was the entire time that I was there. I quickly got on the road and spoke at the European Golf Course Association meeting, Carolina section, spoke with our great member Landscapes Management at their general managers conference recently. Just the vibe in the industry is certainly very, very positive. And so, yeah, I'm assuming, in your travels, are you feeling the same thing? And do you feel like there's the hubris that we once had about this is kind of gone, and that we're now confident but not foolish about this stuff?
I hope we're never foolish, but we always tend to be, don't we? I know. I was probably one of them. One, absolutely. I'm inspired. I'm excited about the electricity that was at the PGA show. You forget that some of these young golf professionals had never been to a show when it was big like that. And they were seeing it for the first time. And they're like, wow, this industry is the greatest thing ever. I had no idea how many friends. Yes, that's why we're in it. COVID blew it all up, and people started forgetting why they were in the business. So I'm excited about it. I was at the Alabama Northwest Florida meeting, saw the award winners, just a great excitement of the youth there. I was at the Southern Texas meeting, which was great. We just had a nice whiteboard kind of brainstorming session for the PGA Board of Directors. But I think the key is it's kind of from this article, Jay. I mean, hopefully those who read it, and hopefully the golf course owners and the management companies, executives that read this, they get it that the golf professional is a cost of goods sold. That's it. That's a fact. I mean, I would move them out of I'd move them out of expenses down there and the personnel experience. I'd put them right in the cost of goods sold, because there are still price sensitive people out there, right? I know the time sensitive people, we're hammering them, right? Here at Augusta Ranch, I'm charging them $78 right now. It's kind of chilly outside. They're paying it because they want to play. They got to play. They have to play. But I still have price sensitive people. So you got to be sensitive to that. And sometimes the only way to figure out if somebody's time sensitive or price sensitive is to talk to them, is to interact with them and ask them a couple simple questions. And so once again, whoever's ringing up people at the counter, that's just a straight transactional relationship. Your golf professional has to have the ability to get out from behind the counter, be on the first tee, be on the range tee, and talk to golfers and find out where they're at, because there are always going to be programs. If every golf course, what they'll lose their way. And I've already seen some big management companies make this decision already. They're literally kicking off educational programs from their tee sheets. They're kicking juniors off their tee sheets because they're trying to make as much money as they can right now at this demand. And you're going to bite the hand that feeds you, because these people aren't going to forget when the recession and the inflationary impact to our industry is going to happen. You still have to have these relationships. So let's not get greedy entirely of forgetting the golfer development programs and the way that people are enticed into this game. So don't forget the price sensitive people. They still exist. You got to offer them something. I'm with you. I've got a lot of stuff. I got to pay back my $500,000 that I put into Top Tracer, but I'm going to get there by making those types of people, those personas of people, happy. So just don't start hammering them with rate. You're going to be unhappy with what you're going to get, because some of those people aren't loyal. They're loyal to time, not the game.
It's true. I'm thinking about Tyler, who's sitting in the green room right now. He's getting a master class right now in golf operations, so we can't wait to bring him on in a few minutes. Actually, I that's one of the lessons I was teaching this week is about, okay, nobody's labeled us in a recession yet, right? It's always, is a recession coming, or what have you. And what I warn to golf course owners and operators on this is the same thing, Don. I'm glad we're talking about this independently in different markets, is that the first lever that people pull when a recession might be hitting is that price lever. Oh no, we have to lower the price in order to keep demand going, or to increase demand, or whatever. And it's, because you're thinking of the old economic formula of price elasticity of demand, thinking if I lower price, people will purchase more, which is true with a lot of luxury items that people can purchase. Luxury items are usually subject to that, where the price goes down, you might buy more than one. And as I tell people, like if a gallon of milk all of a sudden went from $3.99 to $1.99 a gallon, would I buy 2 gallons a week instead of 1 gallon a week? No, it wouldn't affect how much I consume, right? Golf has this thing called time that screws up the formula of elasticity of demand, that I still only have time for 1 round of golf a week. If you lowered the price by 25%, thank you very much. I'm still going to play 1 round a week. That's all I got. That's all I got time for. So really, really good thing for owners and operators to think about before they pull that discount across the board lever to save your business, during a recession. You have to really have close engagement with that customer, because they're going to stick with you if you've become part of their routine, if you've become part of their emotional kind of experiences in life, right? So that's the antidote to the recession is connecting with your customers. But anyway, a couple other things before we bring Tyler on, a couple of house things. One is just good news to report, since we haven't met since December, this Indian Pond Supreme Court case in Massachusetts ruling. What a win for golf course owners here. For those that are watching that don't know much about this Indian Pond case, there was a homeowner that sued a golf course for errant balls, I guess, banging their house over a period of time. And in the Massachusetts courts, the homeowners won a $5 million judgment for, I guess, emotional distress and pain and suffering and all of that. And it was appealed all the way up to the Massachusetts State Supreme Court. And NGCOA helped get authored an amicus brief for the court, which was referred to in their decision when the court came out with a written decision about what they did. And by the way, they decided to overturn the ruling. And thanks to our New England, New England Golf Course Owners Association, and all the members that stepped up to help us get that amicus brief paid for and written. Thank you very much. But this is a huge case. And I was just talking to Ronnie Miles this morning, our director of advocacy. He showed me in the last month at least 3 separate cases where golf course owners have called the NGCOA advocacy office because of a homeowner dispute with errant golf balls. That if this court case had passed the Supreme Court, the precedent it would set across the nation for homeowners to sue their golf courses because of too many golf balls would have been so ugly. But we understand they may appeal, and we'll stick with this until the end and try to fight those appeals. So that's really good news. To the members.
I got something. Your pause was a little bit bigger. I would have jumped in there, but this is what the NGCOA does for the little guy. You don't have any support. I mean, Ronnie Miles is he's like the secret weapon of the NGCOA in helping. And I wrote a check for that because it's on the other coast. But listen, we're all got to stick together. I mean, why a golf course owner wouldn't be a member of the NGCOA? I have no idea. I'd love to meet a golf course owner who wasn't a member of the NGCOA so I could talk to him about why they should be, because
I think you're going to
it's
get a
the
chance
best money that you can spend. What are you telling? What? Oh, if Tyler's not a member, he better get ready.
I was checking our database before the show started, not saying anything. I didn't see the little member box check next to his name, so we're going to talk to Tyler a little bit about that today. But yes, you're right. A great effort, a collective effort to make sure that the Supreme Court went our way. Be on the lookout, members and non-members, for when we put the call out for data for the 2023 compensation and benefits report. Excited to get that and see how that has changed over time. I have a feeling things have moved north, probably faster on the compensation tables the past couple of years than they probably have in recent history because of our need to keep the great staff that we have. We're also going to be publishing our second edition of the NGCOA, the Golf Business Pulse Report, asking owners and operators, what's on your mind? What are you predicting? How did things go? And see how they compared to kind of the mid-COVID pulse report that we did. Also, just a little announcement. NGCOA recently announced a partnership with Paylocity, a payroll services company. So check that out. Great technology, great partners now that our members can take advantage of. So Paylocity, look out for our press release on that. And 2 other things. One is we just softly released our first Golf Business Live Tech Talks with Harvey Silverman as the host, our good friend Harvey. And so we're going to be relaunching the Tech Center, the Golf Business Tech Center, with some great content this year. And we expect to have more Golf Business Live spinoffs, including this technology one, because, Don, this technology is like the number one topic that's talked about on the Accelerate platform, where the NGCOA members are crowdsourcing and problem solving and sharing ideas. And so we thought it'd be apropos to launch the Golf Business Live Tech Talks, which would lead into the Golf Business Technology Conference is coming back in October. So mark your calendars now, October 10th and 11th in Las Vegas, Golf Business Tech Con. Ladies and gentlemen, it'll have been 5 years since our last Tech Con in 2018. So we're excited to bring this back. A lot has happened in this space, so it should be a robust couple of days. So be on the lookout when registration opens. So Don, do you remember what it was like when you first bought Augusta Ranch and you signed your life away to some mortgage you had no idea if you could probably afford, and you went about it. You went from, your prior career as a umpire and, a baseball umpire, and going into this thing called the golf. Well, you were also in the golf business for many years as well, but talk to us about How old were you when you bought Augusta Ranch, and how nervous were you when you stepped foot on that property when it was yours for the first time?
Well, first, I do have to say on the TechCon thing, this Chat GPT is something I just posted on LinkedIn about this Chat GPT. So let's make sure that TechCon somehow figures out a way to help us leverage with our social media postings or whatever Chat GPT, because this really to freak you out, it'll be the greatest thing ever. But that has to be a panel at TechCon because it's amazing what's going on. Chat
Maybe
GPT.
artificial intelligence. But before you answer your question, let's go ahead and bring Tyler on. I want to see Tyler's reaction. Let's bring him on. Tyler Litke, there he is. Our friend from Wisconsin.
There he is.
Hey, Tyler.
How's life?
It's pretty good for us. We're going to ask you the same thing, but let's hear what Don has to say about what it felt like, because I want to hear if the feeling was similar to you. Mm-hmm. What did it feel like, Don, when you signed the dotted line and you were wholly responsible for making this business work?
Well, I think the biggest thing, I was excited just because I had worked at Augusta Ranch and seen some of the stuff that they did, and I felt like I could do it better, and then it was also, to me, it was the American dream. I mean, I was scared. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's I paid $1.7 million for my golf course. Tyler paid a little bit less for his, but it was still like, I think when you're running a golf course as a general manager, you never really look at debt service too much. You don't look at capitals too much because your management company, your owner's covering that. And all of a sudden, cash flow is king, making sure you're moving money from your reserve account over to your operating account, and over to your payroll account if you're doing it that way. But to me, I was nervous, but I was probably more excited than nervous, just because I felt like, all right, I have no more excuses. There's nobody that can tell me no, and I get to do anything and everything I want to do. And I knew that I would outwork people. I knew that I would work as hard as I could, and I did. I probably worked way harder than smarter. But I was there all the time, and I would come up with ideas in the shower like, oh my gosh, that would be awesome. And then I would go do it. That is truly living in America. And so at a golf course, I mean, to me, I thought it was the greatest thing ever, because you get a little bit of a restaurant, you get a little bit of retail, you get a little bit of agronomy or landscaping, if you will. You get this, you're running a marketing company, you get to fix clubs, you've got golf carts. There's so many moving parts. It's not for everybody. But if you're someone who really enjoys that challenge and the fulfillment that comes from succeeding in a challenge, there is no doubt in my mind golf course ownership is the best place to be.
Okay, now, Tyler, are you 23? Is that right?
24 as of November.
All right, so you're 24, and so you graduated college a couple of years ago, probably, right? And I think you're in this business with a college buddy of yours who's helping to manage this, at least when some of the articles were written last fall.
Correct.
And you bought this course it's called Sir Lancelot, not even Sir Lancelot, like the old English way of spelling it, Sir Lancelot Golf Course. You've renamed it Crystal Lake Golf Course. So tell me, are you nervous or excited?
Both. I mean, I think I can relate to Don's story pretty closely and similarly. I mean, there's always this level of uncertainty with it, especially for us up here. I mean, we're covered in snow. There's ice falling from the sky today. There's always going to be that uncertainty. When are you going to open? Cash flow is a lot different in the winter than it is in the summer, but there's also that excitement, especially last year we sort of came in mid-season, closed in June, took over, I believe it was June 8th actually. And, we sort of had this truncated season to establish who we were and who we wanted to be. Now, fast forward, we've had the winter to work on some stuff. We've made some changes, looking forward to sort of opening and getting people in here. And so that excitement to continue to build the course and make it that much better it's always in the back of our mind.
And you're talking like a veteran. Look at Don, he's talking like a veteran already. All right, tell us your story, your journey that got you here, right? Have you been playing golf as a kid? Were you just a golfer and you had this dream, or was this happenstance? Tell us the journey story here.
The journey's a little bit of a different one, and I will admit I'm not the greatest, or the golfing maybe isn't my number one pastime. However, I grew up in this area. I actually golfed this course as a kid with my grandfather, who now lives just down the road. I can sort of attribute the golfing knowledge that I have to him and some buddies that have gotten me playing and whatnot. But in terms of the road and what got us here, I would say a failed job interview in college. It's a little bit of a different one, but, went through and interviewed, and at the end of it, things got a little goofy. And I said, I'm not super interested. Finished out graduation, and now you're sitting there like, okay, you spent 4 years planning for this, and now what are you going to do? Went and actually had a great opportunity to work with a local business, bought out their screen print and embroidery company, and I work hand in hand with them all day long. That's my full-time day job. And then fast forward a couple months later, all of a sudden this golf course is for sale. And like you read in the stories, and it's been published, I had joked in college that, hey, there's this awesome little golf course right by me. If it ever comes up for sale, I would love to buy it. I love the land, love the area. And just so happened it did. Maybe a little sooner than I was hoping it was going to, but curiosity got the best of me, and we walked in and looked at it and sat down with the bank, and I said, is this something that's even possible? And they kind of laughed and said, let's see what we can do. And here we are.
Let me stop you in your tracks there real quick. So when you're analyzing the price of something like this, how did you determine that price was worth it? What math did you do? Did you base it on a multiplier of the income? Did you base it on, wow, I think this land could be worth so much more, one day, even though I read that the owner sold it to you because you wanted to keep it as a golf course. Some people obviously look at the alternative uses of land as the value that's kind of hidden there and sometimes in a golf course. And so when you looked at this price of 1.6 million, how did you determine with the bank that this is a fair price?
Yeah, good question. So there's a little bit of everything going on again in that answer too. So to rope you back in, we kind of had made mention of the farming aspect that a lot of people that have read the Golf Digest article or other ones are always curious about or not quite fully understanding. My grandparents owned a farm property in Elkhart Lake, which is just a stone's throw from here. I had purchased that from them almost a full year ago.
All right, stop. Why? Why'd you purchase the farm? Come on, this is like an onion, Don. Like, I got to peel back wait a second. You bought a farm. Why would you buy a farm?
It's too much fun. In short, no, I mean, there's a number of reasons there as well, but land. We've always joked that we want to continue to acquire land. The land around here is beautiful. They had the opportunity to own it and said, hey, is this something that you are interested in? And I said, yeah. Again, that was a go sit down with the bank. Is this something that works? We looked at it, looked how it was structured, and said, yep, yeah, we can. So fast forward a little bit, having previously done that deal, not super long ago, I sort of knew where land values were. So we come in here and we look at the golf course and say, okay, there's 87 acres. Land around here is going anywhere from, I'd say, $12,000 to $20,000 an acre. So when you start checking that off and do the math and you come up with about $1 million in land value alone, not to mention the operating income and all the assets and everything else that goes into this business, it quickly started to make sense to everybody.
Now, did the prior owner really have suitors that wanted to do something else with the golf course?
I didn't ask any names, but given our area, we are right next to Crystal Lake. There's a lot of development going on in this area, and that's something that, not to say I don't want to see happen, but I don't want to see that happen on this course either. So that was something that we had talked about when I came in here, and I think sort of that mutual thought process and wanting to see the course grow and become better was something that really was of interest to him.
Interesting. These stories sometimes, if there's truth to them, kind of surprise me and delight me in interesting ways when someone says, nope, it's got to stay a golf course. I'm only going to sell to someone that wants to maintain it as a golf course, where he might have gotten 2x for it, as something else. I mean, to me, those stories are pretty inspiring in many ways. And so that's really interesting. Let me ask you this. So did you major in finance? Is that correct?
I did. Yep.
Okay. Did a finance degree at all truly prepare you to run a small business? And if so, what were the most important lessons you might have learned in finance that help you as a business owner?
Well, it's funny because I get made fun of by my friends and people who know the businesses all the time. And, that finance aspect should drive all those sound financial decisions. And not to say that we're not making them, but there's also some of them that we have to make in blind faith, right? I had 32 golf carts sitting out there that were old and falling apart. And it's like, all right, how long can we milk these? We're putting thousands of dollars into repairs every year already. I mean, the first month, thousands of dollars into repairs, and I'm going, this is not sustainable. So we hooked up with Club Car and have a whole new fleet on the way. So that was a very early decision. Was nervous to make it. I'm still nervous. They're not even here yet. I'm still nervous about them. But, in terms of those financial decisions, you look at that and you analyze it. What are we spending? What are the expenses that we're using, and how can we offset that, run the business leaner, and just try to, I guess that overall goal is always continue to grow and have that good engagement with our customers.
Don, what was your undergraduate degree?
Aerospace engineering.
No kidding.
Yeah. So, and I didn't graduate. I ended up being a professional umpire, and I had 1 year left too, but I ditched it to call balls and strikes in professional baseball. I got a question for you, Tyler. So this golf car fleet you just bought, did you go gas or electric?
We went gas.
Went gas. Did you go true lease? Did you go balloon payment? What'd you do?
We actually, and this is something that I want to mention too. The local bank that I work with, Waldo State Bank, they have been tremendous to me. They have taken a lot of interest and helped me with tons of things, including obviously the golf course. So when looking at it, we ran through the whole scenario with them again and said, this is what we're seeing. These are all the numbers. And they said, yep, let's make it happen. So I got to give them a huge shout out, because without them and sort of their trust in myself and seeing this land, they've provided a lot to the course and I think to the community. So long roundabout answer, we went through them.
Really? So they financed it all. So is it just,
Correct.
Is it a true lease like after 3 or 4 years, or what did you do?
Straight purchase.
Straight purchase. So already my man is making good decisions, Jay, because Tyler, what tends to happen, a lot of golf courses, they get into just straight true leases, and then they got to roll the fleet every 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And their batteries are shot because they all go electric because they're so quiet. And there's, never even really gaining on the residual value of the golf carts. I mean, that was one of the things I learned at the bar at my first golf business conference with Del Radcliffe and Rock Lucas was, Don, stop doing true leases, do a balloon payment at the very least with a gas car that's got enough residual value that the golf cart company will buy the cars back from you.
Correct.
And Don, you should be making $500 a cart every time you flip your fleet. Never learned that from anybody but another fellow golf course owner. So you are way ahead of the curve, my friend, already, because that's something. How about I'm curious on your equipment side. Golf carts are one thing. How are your mowers, and how are your where are you going with your tractor and all that stuff?
That's a whole nother Pandora's box to open. Everything I will say is dated. It is old. But the guys that have been here taking care of this stuff since the beginning. Former superintendent Mark, he has been with this course, I think last year was 52, 53 years, something like that. I mean, he built half of the clubhouse I'm sitting in. I'm pretty sure he built half of. So he has maintained everything very well. But, to answer the question, it is all old. It is dated. We're having issues with that as well. But fighting through it and trying to make those sound decisions so that at some point we can begin to upgrade those pieces to be able to continue to take care of the course and keep it in great shape.
What new technology have you implemented since you started?
Well, we started accepting credit cards. How's that for a start? Yeah, previous owner, this used to be a cash-only business, and I think day one, someone came in and said, can you please add a credit card machine? Yes, it's on the way. We already have it in process. So, but we're also working with Club Car. We're going to be bringing in the GPS systems into the golf carts as well. I think your buddy Greg Norman's going to be hanging out with us, rolling some ads in there. So we're trying to sort of bring this course into the 21st century and give it the life and youthfulness that it needs.
Okay, well, expand on that. What does life and youthfulness look like at a golf course?
There's a number of different things, and when we sit down and have had our meetings, we've talked about. And I think one of the biggest things for us specifically about the youthfulness is wanting to drive some of those younger players. And I felt like I was kind of in a master class here in the beginning before bringing myself in, but you guys were talking about not wanting to cut out the younger generation, those kids that are trying to get started. And I think that's definitely something that plays well into our market. We are a much smaller course, 4,300 yards. Yeah, we're a full 18, but you can get in, you can get out at a decent time. It's very youth friendly. It's very event friendly. So kind of looking at all that and making our decisions, sort of who do we want to be? What is the identity of this course? That is something that I think we've really landed on, that, hey, yes, we have a terrific customer base. We have awesome leagues that come through almost every day of the week. We love those people. We want to take care of them and continue to grow those leagues. But in addition, let's work on bringing more events. Let's work on getting youth events out here. I have the awesome opportunity to work with some local youth organizations through my other job. And sort of this spring, what I'm working on is trying to get in contact with them and say, what can we do to bring, when all these summer camps are happening, can we bring a busload of kids out here, see if we can get them interested? Because I think, like Don mentioned, that is the next group of customers. If we can get them hooked and we can get them playing, that is something that's going to help keep this game alive and hopefully grow the game.
Mm-hmm. All right. So speaking of youth and events, and it's snowing and icing out there, right now in Wisconsin. And I think I read there are probably like maybe 12 golf courses in the market, whatever the drive market might be of your golf course, but you've got some competition there.
Oh yeah.
Has anyone grabbed the mantle of this top tracer range thing that Don has done, where it's like, let's create this entertainment center under a roof? You could probably put some heaters in there as well. I mean, today might not be a good day for it, but on a cold Wisconsin day, you can put these space heaters out there and sell the hell out of some food and beverage and make Crystal Lake this, the brand of it is like, man, that's where you go to have a good time. Is that something on your radar, or someone else grabbed the mantle before you in your market? It
is actually. And I will say Wisconsin is definitely lacking in sort of the top tracer, top golf markets. The nearest top golf that's actually a full outdoor experience, from my understanding, is down in Illinois. So from us, that's an hour and a half, 2-hour drive, I believe, to Schaumburg, Illinois, to be able to enjoy that. And the phone's already ringing, but
if that's a tea time, if someone's calling it a tea time, answer it. Go ahead.
Answer it.
They're gonna struggle to play out there today. I can assure you that.
They might pay. They might pay you something though.
That is true. That is true. They're going to be playing with their snowshoes on. But to sort of finish off and answer that question, is something that's definitely of interest, and I think it's a need around here. Our area has definitely moved more to the indoor simulator type golf, and I think there's definitely a good market for that. But every Tom, Dick, and Harry seems to be acquiring a simulator. The local wing joint down the road has one. There was just a big, I think it's Golf 365 is a new simulator bar that went in Sheboygan, which is about 25 minutes from us. So those markets are becoming saturated, but I still think there's a huge opportunity for an outdoor top tracer event. I've talked about it with certain people. The hard part is, again, the value in the land and the upfront cost to sort of get that stuff started. I unfortunately don't have enough space here. I'm pretty landlocked. The areas that I do have that are available are wet, and we wouldn't necessarily be able to do much with it. But there is some land available in the county that we could potentially look at bringing that here.
Don't you also have a farm?
I do, but I like my farm. I don't want to be messing that up.
Let's call it the farm, the Golf Entertainment Center. Just call it the farm.
That is true. I do like that.
Yeah, we just gave you $1 million idea.
I'll make sure to send a royalty check.
Yeah, sure. Don, what sage advice would you offer this young man for the next couple of years as he's getting his sea legs under him as a new golf course owner operator? Kind of what caveats, what mistakes to avoid that you might have seen over the years? Some wet behind the ears business owners make that were mistakes. What sage advice would you offer him? Because I've never owned a golf course. I've only represented them. But Don, you are in those shoes.
Yeah, I think what I really enjoy after listening to you, Tyler, and I think where you got it right is your why. Your why's got to be dialed. I mean, I'll never forget I gave a seminar at an NGCOA conference about my loyalty card program called the Patriot Pass. And basically we just gave anybody who served our country, we gave them a discount card. And a lot of people were like, well, why would you do that? You know, they're the ones who play Augusta Ranch the most. But it wasn't about making money to me. It was my wife and I had watched this documentary on TV talking about all the WW2 veterans were passing away. And we're like, we wanted to give back to the military. And because that was our why, we've been successful. You know, it's the Simon Sinek book, you know, profit's a result of doing something. It can't be the thing the extreme focus that it's on. And you talking about community and all those things, I think you're on a good path of being successful. I think the things you got to worry about when I took over Augusta Ranch, I had a lot of regulars here. And you gave them a little teeny free cup of coffee, and there was a popcorn machine in the clubhouse, and they were drinking and eating all the time, and I was never making $1. And they were very loyal, but I don't know if they were really loyal to the sustainability of Augusta Ranch. And I got rid of the free coffee. I said, sorry, you're going to have to pay for it. I got rid of the popcorn machine. You would have thought I broke their hearts. And I started moving their leagues and their set times to times that weren't so prime. You know, I think sometimes these men's clubs and golf courses across the nation, they get this 8 o'clock on Saturday and you give it to them. Now, could you move them to 10? I know they'll cry, but will they leave? Because 8 to 10, you can sell to those people that are time sensitive. And actually, if you do a good job of messaging with your most loyal golfers of saying, listen, I'm always going to be loyal to you if you book your tee time in advance. You know, maybe it's a loyalty card, but be careful on that. You know, I think some people, they don't get into the dynamic pricing of loyalty cards and they just say, hey, play for $25 on our loyalty card. It should always be a percentage off your rack, and your rack should always be based on demand. But it's okay to kind of convince some of your regulars, I have to take these really high demand times and sell them to the public at a higher rate so I can keep your rates low. You guys are obviously price sensitive. So let me do what I need to do to the time sensitive people, and let's all do this together. And that was through a lot of social events at the golf course and me being there and having a beer with them and explaining who they knew who Karen was. They knew who Katie was, my daughter, and she needed to go to college, and Augusta Ranch was going to have to pay for that. And I think the more they learn my story and me telling them that my door's open even when it's closed. And I guess that's my most important advice to you, Tyler. It's going to be hard. You know, there's so much stuff going on right now, right? There's dumpster fires all the time that you got to put out. But don't forget, you are Crystal Lake now. You are the story behind that, and they want to see you. And you got to walk around. Rock Lucas and I did a whole seminar on just managing your business by walking around. Don't ever forget to do that. You're already a kind of a celebrity in that area. I've never been in Golf Digest yet. You have, but your story is what's fascinating, right? It's whatever. But nobody at Augusta Ranch has seen that. They have no. I come back here, Tyler, like I've been on the road. I mean, I just did a press conference with the Deputy Prime Minister of Italy on Friday and the Italian consulate in New York City, right? You think anybody cares? I was just in the bathroom and some old guy said, where's the toilet paper? You're out again. Yes, sir. I went and got toilet paper, and then I put up the flyers on the wall. I dig that stuff. And as long as you dig that stuff, Tyler, you're going to be great. You don't have to love the game of golf all in, but you have to love the people that love the game of golf. And if you do, then you'll be very successful. But yeah, watch out for those prime times, brother. Don't give them to your most loyal golfers, because you can give them a better rate by selling that at a higher rate.
Absolutely.
Wow. That was some wordsmithing right there, Don. That was great. Wow. Okay.
Hey, I'm the vice president of the PGA, Jay. I got to make this stuff happen here. I inspired 28,000 people. But the first thing Tyler needs to do, and I forgot to say this, is you have to be a member of the NGCOA. It's the best, seriously, to me as an independent director. And I'm not saying this. I'm not even on the board anymore for the NGCOA. I'm a dues-paying member. But you're not a big management company. So who goes to bat for you when somebody's complaining about balls or property taxes or credit card fees or all of these things? I love the PGA, but the PGA wasn't doing that for me. Mm-hmm. I needed somebody to cry to when I got leveraged on a credit card scam. And Jay came to the thing. So, whatever that fee is, to me, I put it in my end. I don't put, some people put this in the dues or memberships or subscriptions line item of their budget. I put the NGCOA membership into insurance. because it's an insurance program for me to make sure that I'm protected. And I know insurance is well worth what you pay the day that you need it.
I like
Agreed.
that. Tyler, you're going to hear from a gentleman named Jeff Schwister, who runs the Golf Course Owners of Wisconsin. So don't be surprised after the show if Jeff reaches out. You need us, but we want you. Honestly, to tell you the truth, we need great young minds in this organization. You come from literally a different generation than we do. And so there's a lot you can teach us. Yes, we're teaching you and we're challenging you and asking you, interesting questions, but I'm telling you, the eyes that you have in your head are going to see the world differently than what we saw, right? And so we need that perspective at the table and the inspiration story to inspire others to get into this business, right? Mm-hmm. There's a whole generation, I'd say, and Don could probably attest to this well, a whole generation of people that built golf courses in the 70s and 80s and into the 90s. They turned their family farm into golf courses and so forth, and they're finding their children don't want to take over the golf course. So we have a generation of folks that are retiring and getting out of the business. Probably one of the reasons why the management companies are doing so well too, so they can help these folks when they don't have the next generation. Well, you are that next generation, dude, and we want you involved. All right, so
hey, I'm in.
Call.
I am in. No worries.
Excellent. Any questions for Don? Your veteran, golf industry guy, golf course owner. Anything that's nagging, even if it's like a small little issue that's nagging at you right now. What's bugging you? Bring it up.
It's interesting that you guys have brought up the legal dispute about the golf balls and homeowners and whatnot. I would say, I think it was maybe a week after closing on the property, the neighbor called with the exact scenario. Hey, this golf ball landed in my backyard. It almost killed my wife. You need to put up a 100-foot fence the entire length of the property. And,
how'd you handle
it? To be honest, I don't quite remember. I know talking through it with him, and in the back of my head, I went, are you kidding me? Like, I've been here a week. This is not something that just started. Why are you calling me right now? But we have gotten to know him a little bit, and I think things have worked out a little better. There has not been as many situations like that. One thing we did discover is,
did you mail them a helmet?
I did not. That would be a good one too. But ironically,
don't listen to Jay. Jay's never owned a golf course, Tyler. Don't listen to him.
Well, he can come up and play here. You both should come up.
I would love to come up and visit. All right, no, but look, while you got us, like anything else, that's bugging you, anything, any problem you haven't solved yet, and you're kind of scratching your head a little bit.
And I think it's something that's sort of been covered. I would say our demographic here, have a much more price sensitive demographic, so when we make little changes, it could be 50 cents a drink. You're going to hear about it for 3 weeks, if not the entire summer. However, I think I'm going to give Jared a huge shout out here as the manager who I brought in and has been doing a good job. He has some of those harder conversations when I'm not necessarily in the building to say, hey, here's our vision. Here's what we're trying to do. You need to understand that, unfortunately, paying us the same price as we're paying for the drink or our cost for you to be on the course doesn't necessarily make this course any better. It's going to end up hurting it. And the response to that generally was very, very good, optimistic. We did some indoor clubhouse renovations over the winter because we are a lot slower. We typically were only open Friday through Monday, shut down even for a couple of weeks around the holidays. We were able to make some of the updates that I think members and golfers are really going to enjoy in here and see that we are trying to make that step and to be patient with us and continue to give us their patronage so that we can grow the course like that goal is.
Super, man. That's great, Tyler. Your head is on straight for sure.
Some days,
it sounds like your heart's in the right place as well. But I would love to take you up on that invitation to come visit maybe this summer. Summer in Wisconsin sounds pretty darn nice. Actually, I'm coming to Wisconsin in May, and so maybe I'll make my way.
Give me a call.
Yeah,
give me a call. Come check it out.
I love it. Well, Tyler, thank you for joining us. And as you join the organization, we'd love to have you involved. Consume every morsel of the organization as you get involved, whether it's the research and the publications and the events. You'll find no better company than coming to a conference and seeing fellow golf course owners and operators. It's a club that is incredibly warm and sharing with each other, despite the fact that in some way they compete, but
Yep.
they are very forthcoming in sharing, because there's an understanding of the difficulty of the business. So I think that overrides all other feelings, and we help each other out. So welcome to the industry, and glad to have you. And thanks for Don. Go ahead.
Well, I'm looking at his website, and so I'm just kind of curious on your golf passes. No, it says per year. Are they 365 days from the day you buy them, or do you have is it a calendar year when someone buys your couples pass for $14.50?
So they are getting the calendar year, right? So if we, and this is actually something that we just talked about yesterday, when is that opening day going to be? We're going to open up a little contest, see if we can get some people involved guessing when that opening day is. But no, to answer your question, from opening day to closing day, whenever the snow hits the ground, that is your season.
That's good. I know what helped me when I first bought Augusta Ranch is, cash flow was always tight. Mm-hmm. And so I changed my passes. Instead of by the calendar year, they all of a sudden they went from October to the following September. The reason being is I needed to pay my seed bill. I needed to pay the labor. So I wanted to, and then I could give like $100 discount if they listen. Now, I don't do that now, but at the time I needed it. I don't do that now, but I used to, because I needed this lump of money. And so I knew I would sell 50 passes at $1,000 and I'd have $50K that would help me pay some of those bills. And so I kind of use that as a little game, but I changed the years in which, because when I first did it, it used to be it's terrible. I did 365 days from the day you bought it. And now everybody was overlapping. It was a freaking nightmare. And then when I wanted to change the price, everybody was grandfathered in. It's like, never again, dude. But yeah, so it kind of works good for you for a calendar year, because you get some money in December when you're closed. Nice little chunk of change. And then don't forget about those monthly memberships. Those are a cool little deal for some people. I wouldn't do all your memberships that way, but we have 100 people that give us $100 a month for an afternoon pass with their family. We bang their credit card. And so even during the summer when it's 120 out, I'm still getting that check, which, it's nice to get a check when you're closed.
Yep. And that's a neat way of doing it too. One thing that we've sort of done that goes along those lines is sort of that student pass. When the college kids are home and the high school kids are off, let's get them involved, see if we can get them in as much golf as possible and give them a smoking hot deal to come out and enjoy the course as much. And like I said, just get them involved. Just
a fair deal. It doesn't have to be smoking hot. Smoking hot doesn't pay the bills. A fair deal will pay the deal. Smoking hot will just put you in the poorhouse, my brother.
That is true. That is true.
A smoking fair deal. We're going to offer
a smoking fair deal.
I like it.
There you go.
All right, we're going to close out. I want to share a couple things. One, Don, we made the big time as we were preparing at the Golf Business Conference last month. We had this fun game show with Peter Jacobson, of all people, was our game show host. And I tell you, you've made it big time when you are an answer to a game show question. Taylor, can you?
Question number 3. What is the name of the National Golf Course Owners Association monthly webcast hosted by our very own Jay Karen and PGA of America VP Don Rea? A, Jay and Ray. B, Albatross Talk. C, Golf Business Live. Or D, Birdie Banter.
And Jay, if you don't get this right, we're going to have a really big problem on our hands.
The answer is, Golf Business Live.
Nice.
Birdie Banter, that's what we all have on our golf courses, thanks to all the pigeons that we endure. Question number 4.
Look at that.
I have something funny. You have to hear this. Who won that contest?
Well, Dave Frem.
Guess where he's playing?
Is he playing your place right now?
He's at Augusta Ranch right now. He came out to check out Tyler. That's the power of the NGCOA, Tyler. Is the guy who won that is literally my golf shop like 2 hours ago,
was
checking
that
out
the grand
Top
prize? Was it a free gift certificate to Augusta Ranch, the grand prize for winning match play?
Well, as long as he paid full price.
Yeah.
Got bills to pay.
Oh, that is amazing. I didn't know that. Dave Frem is new NGCOA board member as well, Don. I don't know if you know, he came on the NGCOA board. So
I just talked to him. It's a small family.
Hilarious. It's really funny.
It's awesome.
And last thing I got to show as a little humble brag, Don, if you're ever playing in an event as the vice president or the future president of the PGA of America, big event where you need a caddy, I want you to know that I will carry your bag. Right? I have an experience now. I'm a card carrying caddy. I got to play I got to be a caddy at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And Darius Rucker there. Look at that rainbow in the back there. The only goal that week, Don Rea, our goal, Darius and I, was to make the cut. He's played in 12 tournaments. He's made the cut once. Our one and only goal was to make the cut. And the cut line was 15 under, and we got to 16 under, baby. We made the cut. So it was a hell of a week, but I tell you what, I worked my tail off. Caddying is no joke. Like legit caddying and looping and having to make sure it's inside the ropes, especially, you cannot make a mistake, and there are a lot of mistakes that can be made. It was fun. It was exhilarating. It was hard work. And so if you ever need me to loop for you, Don Rea, I'm your man. I can get you over that cup.
You just described being a golf course owner. I'm pretty sure right there. Very hard. You can make a mistake at any point. And if you don't make the cut, it's not good.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, the mortgage payment's that cut line. Well, guys, thanks for a great show. Tyler, good luck with everything. Let's stay in touch. And I definitely want to come visit the golf course. So let's hook up after the show. We'd love to see you on my Wisconsin trip. And, let us know how we can be helpful. And again, good luck with everything. And we'll see you soon. Okay, bud?
Thank you.
All right, viewers, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next month on Golf Business Live. Take care, everybody.